On behalf of Parks Associates and our 25th Annual Connections Conference, I'd like to welcome Raman Sidhu, Vice President of Product, Xfinity Home and Connectivity, Comcast, a huge powerhouse player. We've seen so much activity in the smart home and security space, and we really appreciate you taking your time today to share a little bit more of your perspectives. So let's go ahead and start out and see if you can share some of the latest trends you're seeing in the market today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth. So happy to be here. And Parks Associates does such a great job bringing industry players together with great research and great events. So thank you so much for including me. When I think about some of the industry trends that are really impactful these days over the last several years, I think about DIY, right? I think about the flexibility of choice so that meeting customers where they are. DIY when it comes to professional monitoring so that there's choices there, as well as DIY when it comes to self-monitoring. Cameras, video doorbells, door locks, garage door openers, etc. There's so much goodness that is coming down the pike that customers now have the flexibility to do it on their terms. And that's not even, the first time. We often think about smart home users building their smart home kind of brick by brick over time. It's not all at once. So I think that's really important that consumers can add on to their smart home over time as their needs change. Another big one, maybe just to hit on really quickly, is convergence. Security. Historically, it's been, it's a standalone service of arming and disarming. But today, particularly over the last several years, you see all of these components, these features and experiences coming together into interoperable kind of user experiences within one app or with voice assistants, et cetera. So I think those integration across use cases are going to become more and more important.
Well, I certainly agree that DIY and the new options that are coming for consumers to add security to their homes has certainly been expanding the market. And those integrations between devices and services is getting more towards the vision of the smart home that we've all been thinking about for years, which is really this whole home service play. So if you can tell me what areas are you seeing the most growth in as consumers continue to adopt more connected devices with the attached services that go along with them?
No, it's a great point, Elizabeth. I think on the core, our core is still security, monitoring, professional monitoring, self-monitoring. But as I put my kind of industry hat on and look more broadly, there's so much growth happening in those adjacencies that are leveraging the same technology, leveraging the cameras, the sensors to provide new use cases. And I think there's been market events from customers in the insurtech space with the insurance play with smart insurance. I think that's going to be really big and continue to grow and be impactful for helping consumers reduce their premiums and have safer and more secure homes. I think delivery services are, in the pandemic, I think that, for most and many consumers, the delivery of food and groceries and, whether it be DoorDash or Instacart, as well as the abundance of things that now we're just not going to the store and getting delivered to us. So how do we do that in a more safe and secure way? How do we ensure that those packages can go maybe inside the home or into the garage in a more secure way? So I think around the delivery is going to be an area that's going to continue to be important for our industry. And then another more nuanced one that I think has legs is going to be around learning and well-being. So while it's not security per se, but I think it's around using cameras and other sensors and technology so that people can learn better, whether that's cooking classes, exercise, with the Pelotonification of a lot of things that are happening. I think there are interesting new use cases and value props that are going to be developed.
Yeah, absolutely. The health to home and health and wellness play, especially as it relates to technology and smart home solutions, I think is a huge area that's going to grow. Virtual care, as well as hospitals and doctors look for new ways to serve the consumer away from some of those medical facilities. So all really good points. And certainly our data is supporting that consumers value technology more than ever. 56% reported that technology is more important and valuable to them now than prior to the pandemic. A lot of this fragmentation that we've seen in the market speaks to the age-old problem of interoperability and products in by different brands and ecosystems, being able to integrate and work seamlessly together for that unified, awesome plug and play experience for the consumer. So there are still many challenges in the industry, but can you share what your view on interoperability and that role for true integration, and how that's going to play out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think historically, that is the holy grail as you describe, right? That's what everyone wants, is that devices just work. You can plug and play, and they just connect and integrate, can automate across platforms. But when you peel back that onion, Elizabeth, that's really hard, right? The technology's hard. When you have some things that are locally connected, whether it be Zigbee or Z-Wave or Thread, and you have other things that are, cloud connected, there's the platforms interoperability is a challenge, and Comcast has seen that challenge, and which is why we've taken more of an approach within the Xfinity ecosystem of being more curated, picking the experiences that are really going to drive engagement, and making sure that we can put a nice wrapper around those. So, it's not about having the most devices or the most smart home categories so that you can have an app where you can turn something on or off. It's about bringing in the lighting or the door locks all into one view, so that, for example, I can look out my front door, and from that same view, turn the light on or off, if someone's approaching, or I can lock and unlock the door directly from that similar view. So I'm not jumping around, not even within the app, but not even, to other apps. It's all integrated onto that one screen. So as we move forward, I think as an industry, it's about picking those use cases, picking the things that are customer pain points, and making sure that we can truly kind of add value in those specific areas, rather than trying to do everything for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many different consumer segments to be taking a look at and seeing, what they really value in those devices and services. One of the big areas, the big segments that we watch are households with children. And these people with kids, they love their devices and they love their services and they love to know what's going on in their homes and with their family members. So that is certainly a segment that we see really, really growing and continuing to value the use of technology. Also, parents at that age point where they have young children and they also might have older parents they're looking to help support. So that extension of care and monitoring, I think, is going to continue to grow in the future. Do you see that specific segment as a sweet spot for Xfinity services?
100%, Elizabeth. I think that's one of the things that, and I'm fortunate to be in a role where I look after not only Xfinity Home, but also the connectivity side. So with our X5 product, X5 Complete, we have features and experiences that are really geared towards those parental controls and knowing what devices are on your network, the digital security for those devices. The more and more, I think right now on the average, we're having, 11 or 12 smart home devices in the homes. And so when you think about the security to those, making sure that we're doing that at the gateway level. As the internet service provider, we have tools and capabilities to provide security threat monitoring on the gateway itself, so that things aren't even getting into the home or out to the wrong places. Secondly, kind of you're spot on with parental controls. We leaned into that pretty early on with our products, so that customers, particularly those with parents with kind of, let's call it, school-aged children, can monitor and help kind of open up the conversation around, digital control, so that customers are monitoring, what types of screen time their children may be getting, and helping to ensure that that's measured and monitored.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Raman, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your continued support and leadership and look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate the support from you all as well.